College game day is going to be in Athens for one of the biggest games in Ole Miss football history. We're not even joking about that. So we bring in a legend to talk all about it.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Willis, a 10-year veteran member of the national media and a former Ole Miss staff member. We bring in a Rebel legend, John Fourcade, to talk about the Ole Miss-Georgia game and college game day. Thanks for making Locked On Ole Miss your first listen every day, and please give us a like, subscribe, and comment on your way out. Check out a second listen on the network. Nearly every team, college and pro, is available. And also, we put out a little newsletter in the morning, so check that out as well as kind of a newsletter version of every day's podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. All right, John Fourcade, let's bring the legend in here. John, listen, this is probably the biggest game in the history of Ole Miss football, or at least in my lifetime. And they scuffled against Washington State, but that was expected, was it not, a little bit because of this Georgia game coming up a week after?
Well, I can definitely see them looking ahead to Georgia, but to only win by 3, I don't know about that. You can still win by 2 scores, 17 points, and say, okay, the spread was 32, and you win by 3. But, hey, that game's under the water, under the bridge. It's over with. So here's my take on it, and I tell everybody, man, you got away with a win. It happens. It's going to happen. But their focus now is on the Georgia Bulldogs, who has struggled of lately. And so this could be a golden opportunity for the Rebels to go into Athens, which is not going to be any SEC school you're going to have to go to and play. Is never easy. But this one with game day there, I hope the Rebels are ready for it, and Lane knows he has to get better than what he did last week.
Yeah, and at least it's not at nighttime. At nighttime, that place is very, very difficult. I would much rather have 2:30. I would have preferred 11, but I will live with 2:30.
Well, 2:30, you still got some drunks early in the morning. And 11 o'clock in the morning game, you probably won't have as many guys and girls down in Athens whooping it up, but a good afternoon game. You're right. I played in Georgia, and all my games I played there were in the afternoon game. So it's a little bit better that you play in the afternoon than a night game, because anybody you go into LSU at night, you go into Georgia at night, you go in the swamp at night. Those are nice, not nice places to play in the evening time. But here's a golden opportunity. If Ole Miss wants to show the country that they deserve to be where they're at and possibly be in the college playoff game, they have to go into Athens, win, or play a dang good game where it's close enough. And if you don't win, it's close enough that people say, well, they can hang in there. There's a lot of football left, and I'm telling my friends, 2 losses will get them in. I don't know about 3, but if they do lose 2 games, the Rebels will be in it. But I can see them going into Athens the way Georgia's playing. I don't think the quarterback Stockton has played well for them. Their defense has struggled a little bit. Their offense really hasn't done a lot for them. And let's be honest, that was a touchdown against Auburn. Auburn scored a touchdown. They ripped them off and gave it to Georgia. But, hey, you got to play the game. It's over and done with. So now these 2 teams are getting ready for a big weekend.
Yeah, everybody's talking about the touchdown that Auburn either did or didn't score, which they did. I agree with you on that. But the weird thing is Kirby calling timeout and then basically saying he didn't call timeout. And the officials is like, okay, we'll just mulligan it. It was bizarre. No timeout was charged and no penalty was given. Just a do-over. That was the most egregious thing that officiating crew did.
Well, you can sit down and you can look at any football game and, look, the NFL had a game Sunday night where Kansas City Chiefs at home got 0 penalties. There's no team in college, pros, or whatever is going to play a football game without getting a penalty. Well, in this game against the Auburn Tigers and the Georgia Bulldogs, the officiating was just brutal. But it's been like that in the SEC quite a bit this year, and people have complained about it. But I mean, you can't put your head on one play. Auburn had every opportunity all through the game to do better than it did. You can't come down to, it was, it should have been a penalty, or no, it wasn't a penalty, or no, it was a touchdown, or no, it was a touchdown. So I don't ever say that. I mean, I look at me. Look, I played Mississippi State last game of my career. They threw a flag, and I'm still looking for a penalty, pushing off for a pass interference. I'm happy it was, but the eyes tell me it might not have been.
Yeah, the hilarious thing about that Auburn-Georgia game was not the fact that whether they did or didn't score the touchdown, whether they missed it and all that. It's that Hugh Freeze and that staff and that team, after they got it ruled against, they just went to the tank. They went to the garbage. They let them beat them for a half on that one call that was right before halftime.
And that's the bad coaching there. But players getting that mindset but Auburn played the game. I mean, they were there to beat Georgia at home. I just thought the second half, Auburn's style of play totally changed. I don't know what's going on with Hugh Freeze in his team, because he does have a good team, got a decent quarterback. He's a heck of a play caller. But you got to give Georgia Bulldogs credit. They played 60 minutes. They lost the first half, but won the second half.
Yeah, and the rumor is on the Plains, for anybody that's interested, if Hugh Freeze doesn't beat Missouri, he's likely not going to make it to Sunday.
Well, that's been talk about Hugh Freeze up until this game. That they were expecting a lot more from him, and he's a good coach. I don't know what's going on there, but he's got a good chance. He's at home playing a Missouri team coming off a loss to Alabama. Missouri is a good football club, but I think somehow Auburn wins that football game and helps you go to another week.
All right, so when we come back, we'll talk to the legend, John Fourcade, about Trinidad Chambliss making a start on the road in Sanford Stadium. It's going to be the most raucous road atmosphere that he has ever suited up in. We'll talk about all of that as soon as we come back. But first, I do want to let you know today's episode is brought to you by Mazda's Moving the Game Forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than just put points on the board. They move crowds, culture. They keep the game moving forward. For Ole Miss, Caden Lee caught a 35-yard touchdown pass that put away the Washington State Cougars after a really gamed effort by them in this game. Couple of great juke moves and explosive play leading to a 24-21 win, setting up this Ole Miss and Georgia game this weekend in College Game Day, and all of that stuff that's going to happen. So when you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to every Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Also, do us a favor and like, subscribe, and comment on the video. Subscribe to the podcast on whichever audio podcast you're listening to, whether it's Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It costs nothing, but it helps keep all of this free. If you want more, join the Insiders program at the subtext link down below. No trolls. 14-day free trial and the easiest way ever to cancel, so give it a try. And don't forget to check out a second listen on the network. Nearly every team, college or pro, is ready for you. So, Trinidad Chambliss was a talking point in this game. He did not start well. I think he started out 4 of 11 or something like that. He ended up 20 of 29, 2 touchdowns and a touchdown running. He closed pretty well, but the beginning of the game, the slow start kind of mirrored the slow start that he had against LSU. Against Georgia, as Jackson Dart saw last year, if you have a slow start, they will pick you off. They will put you into that hole, and the defense is good enough to where they can shut you down.
Well, Lane Kiffin has to do something to help him. And I mean by that is that maybe do a little more running, maybe quick passing games just to get him in a rhythm. I think if he gets in a rhythm, then he realizes that, okay, now I can take it down the field a little bit more. But you cannot be a team that falls behind the Georgia Bulldogs because they will run the football. I'm not sold on a quarterback. I don't think he's the guy to beat you. I think that's the guy you have to say needs to beat us. Take away the running game, make him beat you throwing the football. But with the quarterback Trinidad, he's got to do things now offensively that has to help the Rebels. It has to help them early. I think if they get in the game and they do things early and they put some points on the board, touchdowns more or less than field goals, then I think that'll boost his confidence and boost Lane's confidence that, hey, maybe we can do now a little bit more things. So you'll see the game plan probably won't be outrageous, that you come out throwing it and spread it all over the place, because if you start putting the football a lot to the Georgia Bulldogs, you're going to be in trouble. You need to take some time off the clock or run it down there, get some points. If you got to settle for three early, but then you definitely got to score touchdowns against Georgia.
Yeah, because the second half this year, the defense has been really good. I think Alabama was shut out in the second half. Auburn had 24 yards or something like that in the second half. Only the Tennessee Volunteers, which were a missed field goal away from beating the Georgia Bulldogs, they're the only team that had real success in the second half. I do agree that Trinidad needs to get off to a quick start and Ole Miss needs to score, and you need to kind of get rolling. I think this is the simplest game on Ole Miss's schedule the whole season. If Ole Miss stops the run against the Georgia Bulldogs, they're going to win. If they don't stop the run, Georgia is going to win.
Well, Georgia wants to run the football. They've always been a running team for umpteen years. I know they've had some quarterbacks of lately that can throw the football, but that's quarterbacks that when you need them to throw the football, they can come out and throw the football. I think the kid Stockton is a running quarterback that Georgia doesn't use a lot in the running game, which I'm surprised, but they do have a running ability with their running backs and their offensive line. If you could somehow get them out of that and make them throw the football, I think you can get to the Stockton kid and take care of business that way. But don't get in the second half being either close or behind, because look what has happened in the last couple of games with the Georgia defense in the second half. Ole Miss's defense, I don't know what to expect of them from what they did against Washington State. They bent but didn't break enough, but they still gave up some points in that game. The other SEC game, they played very well against LSU and did very well against Kentucky. Granted, those aren't Georgia Bulldogs style teams, but this is a game where don't expect a blowout or a high scoring game on either end. I think both teams are going to be like boxers, just waiting it out till the late rounds and see what happens. This could probably come to the fourth quarter, and the winner is going to win it in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And you played at Ole Miss when Herschel Walker was at Georgia. Do you have any Herschel stories?
The one that he dove over the line from the 5-yard line, he got slammed in midair and landed back on his feet and just walked to the end zone for a touchdown. Yeah, I remember that game against Herschel. We were playing them well at Oxford one year when I broke a cartilage in my rib cage, going for a score, and then I missed the whole second half, and then they just took it to us in the second half. But yeah, we were in some games with them. But the old Herschel Walker, he was a beast. There's no doubt. And my good friend, still is my good friend, Buck Ballou was a quarterback, and they had Lindsey Scott as a wide receiver. And, when you got Herschel Walker behind you, Buck Ballou, then you have to worry about throwing the football much. But they were still a running team back in the day. So they've always been a team with good running backs, and you can look at the ones that ended up going into pros. And so, basically this is a battle of two good teams. Both of them are fighting for the playoffs.
Yeah, it's interesting. And it came out today that Ole Miss and Oklahoma will be the ABC game at 11 o'clock the week after the game as well. So it's going to be really interesting. LSU got another night game. How does LSU keep getting night games when, like Florida, where it's really hot in the swamp, they call it the swamp, they're playing at 2:30 or 11 o'clock?
Well, it's ratings, it's money. You put a game on in the evening time in Baton Rouge, people are going to tune into it because of the atmosphere. It's just one stadium that people, will go to and turn on and watch the LSU Tigers and their fans, and just the show that they put on. Now, I'm not talking about on the field, but with the cameras and the crowds and the singing and the noise. So I guess that's why they're doing it. And maybe they paid off enough people that they can get night games. I don't know.
Yeah, this was after your time, by the way, but Billy Brewer used to always talk about that they would go the long way into LSU's campus and go through the tailgating area so that the fans would shake the bus and do all that stuff. And he credited that for the team playing well down in Tiger Stadium.
Well, I'm just impressed that he was able to get to the stadium because most of them LSU Tiger people, they like scavengers. They won't even let you go in there and call it a forfeit. They'll say, "Oh, the Ole Miss didn't show up today." So Billy Brewer had some strange things going back in the day, and my luck, I'd be on the bus and somebody would attack the bus and come on the bus and come after me. But when I was playing, but no, that's just the rival that they have. You don't like playing at nighttime in Baton Rouge, but you got to when it's called upon. But like you said, Florida Gators, and I played in Florida when it was so doggone hot. And man, I'm on the sideline. It's a true story. They got these big fans. It's hot. It's the middle of the afternoon. We're right in front of like the student section, and they throwing these girls up there with bikinis on, and they're smoking enough weed in the stands that the fans were hooking it up and getting it. We were so stoned on the sideline trying to play football, looking at women in bikinis. How the hell you gonna play football? That's tough to do. It happened.
Yeah. That would be a distracting moment. Anyway, we're going to come back one more second with the Ole Miss quarterback legend, John Fourcade. We're going to talk about some of the betting lines around the SEC whenever we come back. So stick around for that. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right, everybody. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel gives me so many different ways to play. I've built parlays. I've tried player props. I've even followed the live lines during the game. It makes watching football even that much more exciting when you got a little something riding on the action. So whether you're a casual fan or love dipping into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Also, most people can't name their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's a 401k or properties or even investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That is why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that helps bring your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your computer or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. It does all the heavy lifting. You can link all of your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money, all without ever touching a spreadsheet. Maximizing investing, increasing your savings rate, easily reviewing your finance with your partner or financial advisor, keeping a clear view of your financial health week to week and long term. Don't let this financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code Locked On College. All right, so we got some interesting games around the SEC, a couple lines. Only one game has a double-digit line this weekend. And the one thing that I am really interested about, and especially with you being from New Orleans and being around that, Vanderbilt is favored by, I have them at -1.5. I think it's gone up to -2.5. That is the 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern game on ABC. Vanderbilt's getting some buzz in that game.
Well, Stephen, they are getting buzz at that game, but LSU's way better football club, and I think the LSU's defense will shut down Vandy. They'll have 70% crowd on LSU side when they go there because LSU travels well to Nashville. I've seen it happen, and I just think LSU's defense is going to play a lot better, and it has played pretty doggone good lately, and the offense did much better this past weekend. But I'm going to go with the LSU Tigers at Vandy.
Yeah, it should be a good matchup. And if LSU wins that game, their schedule kind of opens up a little bit. It's the point where they can kind of excel, and Garrett Nussmeier kind of gets right, and that Alabama game gets into focus down the line, right?
Well, don't be looking ahead because Vandy will beat you. And down the road, they got their schedule is not as hard down the road, depending on what Oklahoma brings to the table. What Alabama brings to the table, and they know they can't lose 2 games. They can only probably lose 1 more game. So I think they're in that playoff mode now that they have to beat Vandy, and it's not going to be an easy win at Vanderbilt, but I think they take care of business.
Oklahoma is a 5.5-point road favorite at South Carolina. Oklahoma did not look good in the Red River rivalry game against Texas. It was something that John Mateer, probably in hindsight, he shouldn't have rushed himself back. Michael Hawkins could have done that.
I agree. I thought he rushed himself because I saw his throwing motion was so bad, because when you have a thumb injury that he had, you really don't grip the football even after surgery, because I had this type thing done to my thumb. And I'll say this, that Oklahoma had a chance to play well against Texas and maybe win the football game. But, I thought the quarterback rushed back into playing. Oklahoma looks good. They got, solid defense. South Carolina, I was never on the South Carolina bandwagon. I think Oklahoma goes in and beats South Carolina.
Texas A&M is kind of getting the buzz for being the leader of the SEC. They're traveling to Fayetteville to take on Arkansas, who put a little bit of a scare into the Tennessee Vols over the weekend. Bobby Petrino kind of working his stuff. Do you think that Arkansas can take the next step with Texas A&M taking a true road trip, I think for the first time since Notre Dame?
I'm not sold on A&M, just the fact that they really – probably should have lost the Notre Dame game if the guy calls a holding on the play, but it wasn't called. Just still got to play the game out, finish it out, and they did it. Then they struggled lately. They struggled against Auburn. They're going to Arkansas. Arkansas has got players. There's no doubt they got a fantastic quarterback. I don't know if they're going to cover the spread 7.5. It could be an upset by Arkansas. Arkansas kid upset A&M. A&M, to me, I'm not sold on that quarterback. People think he's that good. I don't know. He's pretty average to me. But Arkansas, they got athletes. You just don't know what you're going to get with them. But I think Bobby Petrino wants that job so bad there that those guys might be playing for him. Who knows?
Yeah, seriously. And at least he's acting like he's going to get that job. And Bobby Petrino, he does seem very motivated. Next up, the third Saturday in October, Bama is an 8.5-point favorite. The game's in Tuscaloosa. It's a 7:30 game on ABC. This feels about right. We've gotten to the point in this rivalry where Tennessee can win in Knoxville, but they can't get over the hump in Tuscaloosa. I think Alabama's playing really, really well right now, but this is the 4th-ranked game in a row for the Crimson Tide.
Well, Alabama knew what happened after they lost Florida State. Pretty much got to run the table when they beat Georgia Bulldogs. I think they realized, hey, we're back in everything. All we got to do is just maintain the end of the season. I think they got a revenge factor big time coming here because they were a better team in Tennessee last year, just had turnovers after turnovers. I think Bama at home covers the 8.5 and beat Tennessee. Tennessee has struggled lately playing football. I just think Alabama's the better team here, and they should win this game and cover the spread.
And the weirdest game of the day is going to be Missouri at Auburn. Auburn's favored by 1.5 points, but this might be a situation that the wrong team is favored. Auburn's got good players and all of that. It just, for whatever reason, they find new ways to lose football games every single week. It's the SEC Network game Saturday night. What do you look at this game as playing out, how it's going to play out?
Stephen, when I look at this game, I looked at Missouri. Missouri didn't show me much in the Alabama game. Alabama should have beaten them by at least 20 points. That's my take on it. I really thought Alabama was a better team. They had some mistakes there. Missouri's good. They turned the ball over. I think going into Auburn, they going at the right time. Auburn coming off of the loss to Georgia, which really was a tough loss for Auburn at home, and they thought they should have won the football game. But, you got to play the game out in 60 minutes, and Georgia did. Auburn didn't. This is going to be a toss-up game. Auburn can easily win this football game. There's no doubt. They have the athletes, the quarterback, the coaching staff. Missouri's going on the road after a loss to Alabama, but they still realize that we're still in it. We got one loss. We beat Auburn and finish out the year with 1, maybe 2 losses. They might have a playoff shot, whereas Auburn don't have a playoff shot. So this one game, I have no idea who's going to win. I think Auburn could upset them easily because they're at home, and Auburn's capable of doing that.
Yeah, and it's weird. It is a night game in Jordan-Hare, and that's a weird place to play at nighttime for sure. Anyway, John, you're in Cabo. How's your vacation going, buddy?
It's been great. Like I said, little hurricane weather when we got in here for 2 days, and then we had like a small little hurricane that hit us Saturday. But other than that, golfing wasn't great. I just, I'm still beaten up and sore. These courses are a little bit tougher than back home where everything's flat. But the sights, the sceneries, everything's beautiful here. We come here quite a bit. I've been here a lot of years, and so I had fun. Good little birthday party night, and we got kind of crazy, but not enough to post on videos, but it was good. We had fun. It's been great. I leave tomorrow. I'm heading home, and looking forward to getting back into my bed.
Yeah, seriously, and getting to watch some good football that's going to happen over the course of the weekend, because this weekend seems like it's going to be really fun. Anyway, John, thank you for coming on, and we'll talk to you next week, bud.
Okay, Steven, you take care of yourself. Enjoy it.
All right. Thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your go-to source for Ole Miss sports. We pride ourselves on offering the most comprehensive perspectives, which is why we're the front door of Ole Miss. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. It helps the show, and it is completely free. Your support means the world to us. On another big moment for Locked On, college football fans, Locked On and Fire TV are presenting College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation alongside two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson and former college star Jesse Holley, as well as Locked On's local experts. I'll be on this week for the Georgia game. A college football preview that only Locked On can do. Catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. Hotty toddy, everybody, and remember, the analytics is the old English word that means bad football. We'll see you tomorrow.